Hurricane Nicole, now Hurricane Nicole, that official word coming moments ago, coming ever closer to our coastline. The storm expected to make landfall late into the night.
And we just received this update in the last couple of minutes. So let's get straight over to our first alert weather team following these latest developments. Let's start with our chief meteorologist, Steve Weigel.
Yeah, let's take a look at what is now Hurricane Nicole. Just made landfall in Grand Bahama, just about 20-25 miles east-northeast of Grand Bahama and moving closer to South Florida. Now, we are going to get into some very, very heavy rainfall as not the inner core, but really the significant rains and significant winds begin to arrive along the coast. You can see it's pushing in right now. There's the center of it as it crosses Grand Bahama and moves. It's about roughly 100 miles away from our area and will make landfall after midnight. Those heavy rain cells are just really starting to begin in earnest and will continue to bring torrential downpours. There is a concern for flash flooding too, and there is also obviously the concern for a quick brief tornado popping up, which is something that we're going to have to watch very closely through the evening, especially on the Treasure Coast with a landfalling storm and being on the right side of the track. There's just all the conditions come into play that could pop up a quick tornado and move through. There's no tornado watch in effect, but we'll be watching that closely. There's a look at the Treasure Coast. Now, this is the heavier rains, the more persistent rains, the stronger winds that are arriving to the coastline now. There's a wide view of the entire area, so you can see there's just a difference in what it appears on the radar with all of this wrapping around the storm and arriving now to Jupiter, to West Palm, and up into the Treasure Coast, still offshore, Fort Pierce and Vero. We're still working in those outer rain bands now, but heading our way. Jupiter's getting some heavier rains, and these are tropical rains. They're very different from the big downpours that we even get in thunderstorms in the summer. These are torrential downpours with near zero visibility. You do not want to be driving in this because you won't be able to see the roadway, and a quick flash flooding is possible with each one of these cells. We're going to add 1 to 2 to 3 inches of rain very quickly with this rain. As far as our current wind gusts, 38 miles an hour in Vero, 23 in Jupiter, 33 now at the airport, and West Palm 32 in Boca. So some bigger winds, some higher numbers here showing up, and more on the way. So as we get into tonight, we are looking at tropical storm conditions that'll continue overnight. There is the chance for hurricane conditions at times, not only on the Treasure Coast, but in coastal Palm Beach County, where the hurricane warning has been extended. It is now east of 441, and the track and the latest on our hurricane moving west at 12, winds at 75 miles an hour, forecast to make landfall as a hurricane around the Treasure Coast just after midnight. There's the hurricane warning, Treasure Coast, eastern Palm Beach County, so the east of 441 in the shaded red area, metro Palm Beach County is now under a hurricane warning. That came up about an hour ago. A tropical storm warning, inland Palm Beach County, and also in effect for Okeechobee County. I want to bring in James Whelan. It looks like he has the computer models up. And a lot of these models are really coming together and agreeing on kind of the scenario through the evening and overnight.
Yeah, for sure. We've been watching them for the past couple of days, and finally they're all coming together, and they look rather similar. This is a high-resolution model here that we have, and you can see some of the spotty features. It kind of enhances it a little bit, but you can see that just some spotty showers moving through right now. Now, the main section here, not really the core, but part of, say, the main core that may come on in, that's going to come in the next couple of hours. In fact, it's just offshore by about 10 or 20 miles only, so that will continue to move in, and this will be a really particular nasty band that's going to move on through the main part of the storm, really from Stewart, Jupiter, even in the West Palm. Wind direction is going to be generally north with this. The farther south you go, maybe a little west into it. Now, as the storm makes landfall here, this has landfall time around 12, 1, 2 o'clock-ish. You see here, we get more of that westerly flow in West Palm, and you see this band here still setting up. This will be a really, really nasty band moving through West Palm and down into Boynton Beach and Boca too. Now up to the north, this will be the worst of it. Way up here, the northern part of the storm of the center here, and that's from Vero Beach to Fort Pierce. Your wind is going to be more out of the east and northeast, and that's just going to continue to pile that water, and this area will be the biggest storm surge area here, and then we may even see some areas of the barrier island get washed over, where the water goes all the way from one side over to the other side. Then as this moves farther off, we get more of that offshore flow. We set up one last band on the backside of the storm, which could be a pretty nasty band too, and then things will start to quiet down after that. Right now the sea's 30 feet. We finally jumped to the 30 feet mark there with the outer buoy. The inner buoy's around 23 feet, and look at Lake Worth Pier there, gusting to 45 miles per hour. 25 to 30 feet here for the next day, day and a half, then things will finally start to quiet down. Our storm surge 3 to 6 feet plus the extra higher tides. When are those high tides? Well, here's what we're talking about. High tide around 8:30 for Lake Worth Pier and the Fort Pierce Inlet. The inland areas are a little bit later there with that, and another one going, 2 more high tide cycles into tomorrow morning.